Picture this. You're 400 feet below the ocean surface, sealed inside a steel tube with 170 hungry sailors, and you haven't seen fresh vegetables in over 2 months. Yet somehow, the smell of perfectly cooked pizza fills the air. The crew lines up for what they call the best food in the entire military. How is this even possible? Deep beneath the waves, where our brave submariners patrol the world's oceans protecting American interests, something extraordinary happens every single day. Military chefs are performing what can only be called culinary miracles. They're feeding entire crews, sometimes over 1,000 meals per day, using ingredients that haven't been fresh for months. These aren't your average Navy cooks. These are elite culinary specialists who've mastered the art of creating restaurant-quality meals in a kitchen smaller than your garage, using only canned goods, frozen supplies, and dehydrated ingredients. They're keeping morale high and stomachs full on vessels that could stay underwater for literally years if needed. But here's what will blow your mind. The food limitation is actually what brings these nuclear-powered giants back to port. Not fuel, not mechanical issues, food. Because while these submarines can produce their own air and water indefinitely, they can't grow a single tomato. Intro and setup. Our American submarine force, known as the Silent Service, operates some of the most advanced vessels ever built. These nuclear-powered submarines can circle the globe without surfacing, carrying enough firepower to defend our nation's interests anywhere on Earth. But behind every successful mission is something most people never think about: the dedicated men and women who keep these crews fed. The numbers alone are staggering. These culinary heroes load 60,000 pounds of food by hand before each patrol. They work in kitchens just 10 feet by 12 feet that rock and roll with the ocean. And they do all this while maintaining the highest standards of nutrition and taste for crews who depend on these meals not just for sustenance, but for their mental well-being during months of isolation. If you're amazed by the dedication of our military personnel and want to show support for these unsung heroes, type "proud" in the comments below. The scale of the challenge. Let's put this incredible challenge into perspective. Imagine running a restaurant that serves 170 customers 4 times a day, every single day, for over 3 months straight. Now, imagine doing it in a space smaller than most home kitchens with no possibility of getting fresh supplies, and you're hundreds of feet underwater. This is exactly what happens aboard America's nuclear submarines. The USS Pennsylvania, for example, carries enough food to last 110 days at sea. That's 60,000 pounds of ingredients, all brought aboard by hand, 1 box at a time. On the larger ballistic missile submarines, they use cranes to lower 6-foot aluminum modules through escape hatches. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this might surprise you. The submarine itself could theoretically stay underwater for years. The nuclear reactor provides virtually unlimited power. The technology on board can turn seawater into drinking water and extract oxygen from that same water indefinitely. So what brings these technological marvels back to port? Food. Pure and simple. Food becomes the limiting factor for how long these missions can last. As one submarine veteran puts it, the crew's stomach determines patrol length, not the incredible nuclear technology that powers these vessels. And we're not talking about feeding a small group here. Fast attack submarines typically carry around 150 crew members, while the massive ballistic missile submarines house up to 170 people. Each person needs 4 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and what they call mid-rats for the middle of the night watch changes. The fresh food reality. Now here's something that might shock you about submarine operations. When these vessels leave port, they're loaded with fresh fruits, vegetables, milk, and bread, just like any normal kitchen. The crew enjoys fresh salads, crisp apples, and cold milk for exactly 2 weeks. Then reality sets in. After those first 14 days, fresh food becomes a memory. From that point forward, everything comes from cans, freezers, or dehydrated packages. The mechanical cow, that's what submariners call their milk machine, switches from real milk to chalky powdered milk that one veteran described as tasting like chalk. But our submarine chefs don't let this stop them. They've learned to work magic with canned goods, frozen ingredients, and dried supplies. They know exactly how to time their fresh food usage to maximize those precious first weeks while planning menus that will keep spirits high when everything comes from a can. The British Royal Navy discovered something fascinating during their submarine operations. Their crews would consume 25 miles of sausages, 5,000 pints of milk, and 70 bags of potatoes during a typical patrol. That's just for 120 men over 3 to 6 months. The kitchen from another world. Step inside a submarine galley and you'll understand why these chefs deserve so much respect. Picture trying to cook Thanksgiving dinner for 170 people in your bedroom. That's essentially what these culinary specialists face every single day. The entire kitchen measures just 10 feet by 12 feet. That's smaller than most people's bedrooms. Yet somehow, this tiny space houses 2 full-size ovens, a 40-quart mixer that could handle bread dough for a small bakery, a grill top measuring 3 feet by 5 feet, 3 steam kettles that hold 6 gallons each, and 2 industrial deep fryers specially designed for submarine use. Everything runs on electricity because there's no natural gas 400 feet underwater. The kitchen has to share space with a freezer that's packed floor to ceiling with enough frozen goods to last months. And here's something most people don't realize. This kitchen rocks and rolls with the submarine as it moves through the ocean. But wait, it gets more challenging. The eating area doubles as a training space when meals aren't being served. So not only do the chefs have to cook in this cramped space, they have to keep everything spotless because crew members will be studying and training in the same area between meals. The equipment itself tells a story of innovation. The Navy has developed square coffee urns that give double the capacity of round ones. They've created multi-purpose deep fryers and steam-jacketed kettles that can bake, stew, deep fry, refrigerate, and pressure cook all in one unit. Every inch of space has been maximized for efficiency. The human element. Here's something that really showcases the character of our submarine service members. Most of these chefs had no cooking experience before joining the Navy. Take Petty Officer Christopher Engman from Philadelphia, who became a lead culinary specialist aboard the USS Pennsylvania. He admits he had zero background in cooking before the Navy but wanted to serve on submarines. When he enlisted, he discovered he was colorblind, which limited his options. He could either manage supply inventories or train for 8 weeks at Lackland Air Force Base to become a submarine chef. He chose the galley, and now he's responsible for feeding 170 people every day while submerged beneath the ocean. These chefs go through intensive training that transforms them into genuine culinary artists. They attend specialized culinary schools where they learn not just cooking techniques, but how to manage massive quantities of food in impossible conditions. By the time they're finished with training, they're essentially professional chefs who happen to work on nuclear submarines. The pressure they face goes beyond just cooking. As Chief Kevin Rusty Staub puts it, 99% of the morale is here, gesturing around the mess hall. These chefs understand that their job isn't just about nutrition, it's about keeping spirits high during long, isolated deployments where the mess hall becomes the social center of the submarine. One veteran explains that meals become the highlight of each day when you're living in a steel tube surrounded by nuclear weapons and explosives. The mess hall is where crew members unwind from the chaos of their demanding duties. Menu magic without fresh ingredients. So, how do these chefs create memorable meals using only canned, frozen, and dried ingredients? The answer lies in creativity, planning, and an understanding of what brings comfort to sailors far from home. The menus follow a 28-day rotation cycle, which helps maintain variety despite the limited ingredient options. But within that structure, these chefs work pure magic. Saturday nights feature pizza and buffalo wings, a submarine tradition that requires making over 100 handmade pizzas. Sundays bring prime rib or steak with shrimp, creating a formal dining experience that rivals any restaurant. They serve specialized themed meals that boost morale and create a sense of celebration. St. Patrick's Day means corned beef and cabbage with Irish potatoes. Cinco de Mayo features steak and cheese quesadillas, fish tacos, Spanish rice, and virgin margaritas. These chefs even bake birthday cakes for crew members during their deployments. The most popular items tell us something interesting about human nature. Despite having access to gourmet recipes, the biggest crowd pleasers are comfort foods: mac and cheese, sloppy joes, and handmade pizzas. Chef Engman's personal favorite is making Philadelphia-style cheesesteaks, bringing a taste of home to the depths of the ocean. But here's what's really impressive about these operations. The chefs plan their cooking with military precision. They'll start soup early in the day while prepping entrees. They'll cut and chill meat before they're ready to grill it. Every minute is planned because they're essentially running a 24-hour restaurant with just 2 cooks working together for each meal service. The Armed Forces Recipe Service provides standardized recipes that ensure consistent quality, but these chefs adapt and modify based on dietary restrictions, cultural preferences, and available ingredients. They accommodate vegetarians, religious dietary requirements, and food allergies while maintaining the high standards expected by the crew. Storage secrets and preservation techniques. The logistics of submarine food storage read like something from a science fiction novel. When a submarine prepares for deployment, food literally fills every available corner. Canned goods get stored under bunks, in shower stalls, and anywhere else space can be found. It's not uncommon for crew members to literally walk on food storage areas covered with cardboard. The preservation techniques go far beyond simple canning and freezing. The Navy has developed what they call ration-dense foods, dehydrated, concentrated, pre-cooked, pre-cut, and compressed ingredients that require a fraction of normal storage space. These innovations mean more nutrition in smaller packages. Modern submarines carry approximately 18,000 pounds of frozen meat and 20,000 pounds of canned goods for a standard 3-month deployment. The freezer alone is roughly the same size as the entire galley and stays packed floor to ceiling throughout the patrol. Temperature control becomes critical in this environment. Meats, poultry, and fish must be kept below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, while dairy products, vegetables, and fruits need temperatures just above freezing. The refrigeration systems on submarines are engineering marvels that maintain these precise temperatures while the vessel moves through varying ocean conditions. Scientists have discovered something fascinating about food preservation underwater. When the research submersible Alvin accidentally sank to 5,000 feet and sat on the ocean floor for 10 months, the crew's lunch was remarkably well preserved when recovered. The pressure at that depth, over 2,200 pounds per square inch, acted as a natural preservative. This discovery has led to new research into pressure-assisted food preservation techniques, innovations, and future developments. The ingenuity of our submarine force continues to push boundaries in food technology. The Royal Navy recently experimented with sous vide cooking techniques, where food is sealed in airtight bags and cooked at precise low temperatures for extended periods. This method preserves natural moisture, flavor, and nutrients while extending shelf life, perfect for submarine conditions. The space program has also contributed innovations that benefit submarine operations. Freeze-dried foods originally developed for astronauts now provide lightweight, long-lasting nutrition for underwater missions. These foods maintain nutritional value while taking up minimal storage space. Equipment innovations continue to improve submarine galleys. New ovens save 30 pounds per 100 pounds of roasted meat by reducing waste. Square coffee earns double capacity compared to traditional round designs. Infrared food warmers and cookers provide energy-efficient heating options. The Navy has even developed multi-purpose equipment like the Unimike, a steam-jacketed kettle that can bake, stew, deep fry, refrigerate, and pressure cook all in one unit. This versatility is crucial when every square inch of space matters. Research continues into foods that require no refrigeration but maintain fresh taste for months. Shelf-stable milk that tastes like regular milk but doesn't need refrigeration could revolutionize submarine nutrition. Similarly, instant bread mixes and freeze-dehydrated cottage cheese are being tested for submarine use. The bigger picture. What we've explored today represents something much larger than just cooking techniques. These submarine chefs embody the innovation, dedication, and problem-solving spirit that makes our military the finest in the world. They've turned one of the most challenging cooking environments imaginable into an opportunity to boost morale and maintain the fighting effectiveness of our submarine fleet. Every meal these chefs serve represents a small victory against the isolation and stress of submarine duty. When a sailor enjoys a perfectly cooked pizza 300 feet underwater, or savors a birthday cake made from powdered ingredients, they're experiencing the care and dedication that makes our military family so special. These unsung heroes prove that excellence isn't about having perfect conditions. It's about making the most of whatever situation you face. They've mastered the art of creating abundance from scarcity, turning basic ingredients into meals that rival any restaurant, all while serving our nation beneath the waves. The next time you enjoy a fresh salad or bite into a crisp apple, remember the submarine chefs who create culinary magic with canned vegetables and dehydrated fruits. They represent the best of American ingenuity and military dedication, ensuring our submarine crews stay well-fed and mission-ready no matter how long they're called to serve beneath the sea. These remarkable men and women deserve our recognition and gratitude for the vital role they play in keeping our submarine force and our nation strong and secure. Their story reminds us that behind every successful military operation are countless individuals performing extraordinary work in challenging conditions, all in service to something greater than themselves. If this story of dedication and ingenuity inspired you, consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing for more stories about the incredible people who serve our nation. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us into the remarkable world of submarine cuisine.